and it is the second day of Black History. I am your Chief Sales Officer here at Wakana, as far as one of the four co-founders. And every day this morning, I will be bringing you a quote from our African American Black African American. Oh, how can you be African American without being Black? Okay, I am going to bring a quote each morning this in February, and this quote this morning was given to me by Monica Broussard, and she said, "The only way to fail is to quit, but it's impossible to stop a man or a woman who will not quit," by Mike Humes. And that is definitely how we feel here at Wakana about anything that we undertake. And just like Claudia is out there in that weather this morning, she will not be stopped, guys. And if you saw what I saw and the people in Chicago, you would be like, oh my goodness, you will never quit. So that's what kind of spirit we have here at Wakana. And I'm going to give back and bring our speaker on. I just hope you have paper and pencil so that you can take copious notes, because I am sure he will be sharing something that will change your life. And with that being said, Coach Dan, someone that is a very dear person in my life, started out as a stranger, became a business partner, then a friend, and now all these years later, I consider him and his family my family. So Coach Dan, are you out there? Coach Dan?
Absolutely, Miss Wonderful. How are you? And I pray that you're cuddled up somewhere with some plant-based tea or coffee, making certain you're staying warm as I look out all of the windows of my house, because I have no curtains or blinds, and all I see is snow. It is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love it. We finally got winter in Chicago. Yes, yes, yes. And I love the quote. I love the quote. And since you did that quote, I had something a little different that I was going to talk about. But let's talk about the whole aspect of quitting. Let's talk about the whole aspect of quitting. And I still want you to get notes, because I believe something something that's going to be said in this moment is going to help somebody to push. So that's the first word I want you to write down for those of you that are taking notes. I believe that over the next 12 to 13 minutes, something is going to be said that will help someone push. Because one of the things about quitting is making a conscious decision to stop pushing. Y'all understand that? And one thing, when you say I quit, you make a decision to say I no longer want to, or I do not feel like I can do it. So I'm going to stop the push. And I don't want you to stop the push. And as I'm talking to you about quitting and stopping the push, let's utilize push as an acronym just for a moment. We're just going to utilize it like this. Y'all know they call me Pastor Dan on Tuesdays and Sundays and a couple other days out the week. So y'all, and many of you have heard this thing about push where they say, pray until something happens. Pray until something happens. Well, I'm going to drop the P, because we should be always praying, but I'm going to drop the prayer, and I'm going to say push until or press until something happens. The P in this moment is going to be press until something happens. What are you talking about, Coach Dan? I'm talking about you cannot quit until what you started actually is accomplished. You cannot quit until you see why you started in the first place manifest. You cannot quit until the job has been done. You cannot quit until you reach your goal. You cannot quit until you fulfill your dreams. You cannot quit until you become a 5-star diamond. So how do you not quit? You must continue to push. Press until something happens. Now, there's a process in the press. So write press down. There's a process in the press. There's a process in the press. Thank you so much, Miss Phyllis, for coming out with that "Don't Quit" quote. There's a process in the press. What is the process? What is the process? What is the process? Well, here it is. The first thing in the process is put press down, because now we're going to use press as an acronym as we're discussing it this morning. The first thing in the process in the press is practice. 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 Let me say it again. Practice. Did I say it once? Yes, you did. Can I say it again? I am going to do it. Practice. You got to understand that there's a certain level of practice that you must do. There's a certain level of practice that you must engage in if you're going to ever be successful in that thing that you are engaging in. It's called practice. Practice is really, by definition, it is the actual application or use of an idea. Practice is something that is customary. It's something that is habitual. It's something that is expected. When you practice, you are performing or exercising something, a skill set repeatedly or regularly in order to improve or maintain your proficiency. So you must practice. You got to practice. Some of us, what are you practicing? Well, I'm building this dispensary. What am I practicing, coach? Number one, I'm practicing my presentation. Number two, I'm practicing how to overcome standard client objections. Number three, I'm putting into practice the systems that have already been in place. Number four, I'm practicing I'm practicing in the mirror of how to articulate and properly position the proposition that I'm making. I'm practicing how to be better in my on the phone. I'm practicing. So you see what I'm saying? I'm practicing. Number one, you got to practice. We're talking about the press, so we cannot quit. Number one, you got to practice. Number two, you got to repeat. Because repeating what you practice is essential in order to get better. Now, let me just stop here, because Coach Dan, and some of you may have heard it, I don't believe that practice makes perfect. I believe that perfect practice makes perfect. So you need something, you got to make certain that your practice is perfect. Now you're going to say, well, nothing's perfect. You're right. But the reality is there's systems that's in place that helps us along the way. So what you're going to practice is you're going to consistently practice the system as it, listen to the language, as it has been laid out for you, right? So the P in press is practice. The R in press is to repeat. The E in press is to evaluate. Every now and again along the journey, you have to evaluate what you've practiced. You have to evaluate how you're doing. That level of evaluation gives you an opportunity to properly assess what adjustments are going to be made in order to accomplish the goal. Now, let me give you a couple of Dan Johnson stories. Y'all know I tell stories from my kids. My oldest boy, my 25-year-old, he was playing around the office in Sacramento. He works for the Sacramento Kings. He's the youngest group sales manager on the team. He's the top salesperson out of about 50 for the Sacramento Kings. He's doing well. And he was playing around the office. He was singing around the office. And the program director who programs the games and the events and all of those things said, man, I didn't know you could sing. He said, no, I'd just be playing around. He said, no, you really can sing. And so the program director says, why don't you sing the national anthem at the Brooklyn Nets and the Sacramento Kings game? The national anthem, in over probably 18,000 plus people, millions of people watching around the world, and he's asked to sing. And in his mind, he's not a singer. He just be playing around because he gave up singing in 8th grade. All of a sudden, he says yes. After saying yes, he comes back to me and said, Dad, I've been practicing and I don't believe I sound well. And so I'm going to quit and I'm going to just let somebody else do it. I said, no, you're not. You're not going to quit. We are Johnsons. We don't quit. Where favor exists, favor follows. So we're going to believe God and we're going to practice. I said, you've probably been practicing wrong. And so he and I began to practice together and we changed how he practiced. And as a result of changing how he practiced, after evaluating how he practiced, we made the necessary adjustments. And when you make adjustments to your practice in order to be better, you increase your performance. Y'all got to get that. Woo! You got to get that. That's why evaluation is so important, because when you make adjustments to your practice, it increases your performance. And then finally, after he made the adjustments and began to practice the way that we spoke about, that's why you need coaches. That's why you need Coach Dan. That's why I'm here. Y'all can call me. I want to help you because I want to help you to be successful. After he did it, he later on kept practicing and he repeated and he evaluated. And so the next thing is he said to me now, Dad, I'm ready. So it's imperative that you understand that as you continue to put into practice, it's going to increase your performance. And now, as it increases your performance, the next S in press is show your results. Tonight, he's going to show his results. Tonight at the game, in front of millions of people, thousands, nearly 20,000 people in the arena, he's going to show his results. And that's going to bring me to my last S in press. When you don't quit, is you start over. You start over. You do it all over again. And you keep doing it till one day you become an expert in it. You keep doing it until you get what you're calling for. Last night, my son Josiah we were at training and he was trying to jump a 3-foot box, a lateral jump. He had to jump straight off both his feet onto the 3-foot box. He had a prior knee injury. And so every time he got to the box, he jumped with the good knee and was afraid to jump with the bad knee. It's not even bad anymore. I'm saying it's not bad because every now and again it still hurts. And so he kept doing it and he kept practicing it, but he wouldn't make adjustments. Y'all gonna see this in a second. He kept practicing. He practiced, he repeated, but he didn't evaluate to make the adjustment. So he could not show the results. And so what I did was I called him aside, asked the coach, could I speak to him? And I began, after my evaluation, to help him to make the mental adjustments necessary. I said, it's not that you can't do it, it's that you are afraid to do it. And because you allow, and fear is causing you to quit. Fear is causing you to go through the motions, but you're not being effective because in your heart, you are afraid and you don't believe you can do it. Here's who else am I talking to that's on the line this morning? Who else on the line right now? You're going through the motions. But the truth of the matter is, because of fear or because of unbelief in self, you're really not putting in the effort in your practice because you don't believe that you can actually perform to show results. And so I got in his grill, I got on my knees, I used a few harsh, hard, motivational coaching words, and I said, you can do it, and we will not leave this gym until you press through it and get it done. And guess what? He made the adjustments. He pressed through, and he jumped the box twice before we left that gym. Can I say to you today, don't you dare quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, when you want to cry, but you have to sigh. Here's what I need you to understand. You can stop and take a break if you will, but don't you give up and don't you quit. The reality is, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us has sometimes learned, and many a failure turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up through the pace, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night slipped down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. I'm going to end it with that. I trust and pray that this was helpful for you today. And I want to remind you to press, practice, repeat, evaluate, show results, and start over. But what you will not do is you will not quit. Back to you, Miss Phyllis.
I am speechless almost. I am speechless. Let me just tell you why, because if you had not known, you would have thought that Coach Dan and Monica all got together for this call this morning. But the truth be told, Monica Broussard sent me the quote, as I asked you guys yesterday to send quotes that you might want to be read. I read the quote this morning, as I said I would, because she was the first person to respond. Coach Dan and I have not talked in a few days, so he had no clue as to what the quote was. But in that small moment, God gave him the words to give to you that really impacted and took that quote and made it personal for each and every one of us that heard it this morning. And I am all in on press, because today, as I look out in all this snow, I could easily say, hey, this is a day to binge and do nothing. But no, I'm going to press, because I have some goals to make. Oh, how about you? But this is the month, the second day of a new month. And I want to be able to press, to practice, to overcome objections, talking to new people about the opportunity that we have. I want to repeat this, because as I repeat a system for Wakana 3.0 and for the flat belly lifestyle, I get better, and we all get better if we continue. It doesn't come easy all the time, but the systems that we have to use. And guess what? We evaluate what is really working, what's moving. And so that we can bring that same system to you guys to repeat over and over again. I mean, he just said everything that you need to be doing in your daily method of operation, your daily method of money making things that you do on a daily basis. And then you want to show your results. Hey, show your results at the end of the month, because I know you committed to where you wanted to be in CV, to where you wanted to rank. But it all takes every one of us that do and accomplish a new rank, a new CV, is because we did all of these things. We pressed and we never gave up. So thank you, Coach Dan, because this was a phenomenal message. Thank you, Monica, for the quote. And you guys go out and have a Wakana kind of day. But at 6:30, Coach Dan will be back doing a training. And at 7 o'clock, we'll be on with Why Wakana. And so with that being said, go out and have a Wakana kind of day. Love you guys and stay safe. Bye now. Thanks, Dan. Call me, please.
All right.